Cynthia Mueller sat across from detectives and spoke softly, carefully, grieving, measured.
If someone really did kill him, it wasn't me, and I didn't do it. And why would they have done that? He's a dying man anyway.
The words came easily, too easily. The kind of sentence designed to end a conversation before it begins. The detective didn't challenge her grief. He didn't accuse. Instead, he shifted the ground beneath her story.
Strangled.
Not strangled.
He corrected calmly.
Evidence consistent with an asphyxiation.
Asphyxiation, it's called.
Yeah, like a lack of oxygen.
That pause mattered, because moments earlier, Cynthia had already framed the death herself.
You mentioned the word strangulation to you?
If it was strangle or strangulation, it wasn't that big wrong.
She introduced the mechanism before the detective ever confirmed it. A classic slip when someone is thinking ahead of the narrative instead of reacting to it. But the pertinent questions are who this woman is and what happened on that particular night.
She tried to suffocate him and she ran off. Anyway, I finished it off.
Welcome back to my channel. I don't have many followers, but your single comment is a ray of hope for me. Thanks to the law enforcement agency for providing us files of this case. This is the first time you will watch in-depth analysis of this case. It was a cold, unnervingly quiet morning in late November in Prescott, Arizona. Inside a modest family home, 52-year-old David Mueller lay motionless in his bed. To the untrained eye, it looked like a peaceful passing, the expected end of a long, debilitating battle with ALS. But the calm was misleading. In the 5 weeks leading up to his death, David had made 6 separate 911 calls, repeatedly telling dispatchers that his wife, 45-year-old Cynthia, was trying to kill him. Each time officers responded, Cynthia explained the calls away as symptoms of ALS-related dementia and paranoia. No arrests were made. No investigation followed. Over time, the warnings faded into background noise. On the night David died, the house was quiet. Cynthia slept. Their 2 children slept. And nearby was 60-year-old Chuck Todd, a caretaker Cynthia had recently brought in to handle overnight care.
Alaska Police Department, this is Kathy.
Hi, my name is Angel Batres, and I'm caregiver for an elderly man. And he passed in his sleep last night.
Okay.
So we just need a non-emergency police and EMS, I guess, to wheel him out and stuff.
Okay, what is the address?
And he's a pretty heavy guy, so you need a few people. Yeah.
Okay, now how heavy is he?
The higher 200s.
Okay. And about how old is he?
He's 52. He had Lou Gehrig's disease.
Okay. Was he on hospice or anything?
No, he had been denied by hospice just yesterday, actually.
Okay. And he's about how much? Just tell me one more time. In the upper 200s?
Yeah.
Okay, and your name is Angel. Can you spell your last name for me?
Batrez.
And you're the caregiver for him?
Yeah, the primary caregiver.
Okay, and your phone number?
In the early morning hours, it was Chuck, not Cynthia, who placed a 911 call, calmly reporting that David had been found unresponsive in his bed. The narrative was already in place. David had died peacefully in his sleep. First responders arrived. There were no signs of struggle, no immediate red flags. But when police later contacted David's physician to sign the death certificate, something unexpected happened. The doctor refused. He stated that while David was ill, ALS should not have caused his sudden death. That single refusal triggered an autopsy. The results shattered the story. David Mueller had not died naturally. He had been suffocated. As detectives reopened the case, Cynthia and Chuck were called in for questioning. Today we will look into the psychological aspects of Cynthia's interrogation, but at the same time, I will evaluate the statements of Chuck to have a better view about the situation. If you want a separate interview of Chuck, then let me know in the comment section.
As I said out there, my name's James. I work here at the police department. Due to the fact you're here, read your Miranda warnings. Doesn't mean you're in trouble or anything. It just
The sun is going on.
well, obviously, I'd like to talk to you, but before
I'll tell you everything I know.
okay, just let me read them off real quick. I mean, I'm sure
Okay.
you've seen the TV shows.
Because I can't afford a lawyer.
Okay, well,
Should I call one?
that's entirely up to you. I'm not really a legal counsel
Well, what
to
am I being
advise.
charged of?
You're not being charged. At this point, I just want to talk to you, but before I do, I
I
just want
forgot your name,
James.
James.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in court.
Can and will be?
Mhm.
Like you wanna be?
I'm sure you've probably seen Law and Order. You probably know these, right? Like,
Actually, I haven't been able to watch a lot of TV lately.
well, I'll go start at the top again. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. But
No, and seriously, I grew up without TV. I'm
Yeah.
Baptist.
okay,
So.
I haven't.
I know
I've seen
people
plenty of
always
TV,
say
yeah.
that. Like, remember that show? I'm like, no, I don't. I know, I'm deprived.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, I'd love to have watched Flintstones. Now my kids watch SpongeBob so much. I think, I can't believe
I'm
it.
sick of SpongeBob.
Yeah, I'm the worst.
But
Okay.
and not to harp on it, but just gonna go through them real quick. And like I said, if you have questions, feel free to ask.
Okay.
But you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in court. You have the right to consult with an attorney and have an attorney present during questioning. If you can't afford an attorney, one can be provided to you before questioning at no cost. Do you understand these rights?
Right. I'm not trying to be funny, but correct?
I mean,
Yes,
did
I
you
do.
understand? You do understand?
That
Or-
right here and now I could have a lawyer.
right, you have that right. That's your constitutionally protected right.
Okay.
The detective delivers Miranda warnings and instructions in a relaxed, conversational tone, framing restraints and questioning as routine policy rather than coercion. This exploits authority normalization theory, which holds that authority becomes psychologically disarming when presented without threat. By stripping the interaction of visible power imbalance, the detective lowers resistance and encourages voluntary disclosure before the suspect recognizes the stakes.
Yeah.
Well, at first tell me what is going on.
Well, you were saying a lot of stuff there on scene too. I'd
Yeah.
like to ask you what's going on, and you go from there.
Okay, here's what I think happened, James.
Okay. And if you don't mind, I'd like to take notes. I don't have a sterling memory, so.
I met, when we had in-home hospice come, they evaluated our family and said I could have a respite break. And we qualified for in-home hospice, so I left for 5 nights free of charge. So I jumped in the fifth wheel, and I was really empowered because woman power, I drove it. And yes, I hit a few things, but I made it to Boulder City to go visit my dad, and he said this is the best park. He's a colonel in the Marines, so it had to be clean and sharp.
I bet.
And it was. So I went there, and then we stayed there, and we'd go visit Dad, and he'd take us out on the boat, Lake Mead. And it was nice. And my dad and I have had an estranged relationship, so it was really nice getting back together with him. He never cared for my husband's company. My husband kept us pretty quiet because he's shy and an introvert type of person. So then while we were there, they have a public pool, so
Rather than guiding Cynthia with pointed questions, the detective allows her to speak freely for extended periods. This tactic leverages cognitive load theory, which explains that maintaining deceptive or self-serving narratives becomes increasingly difficult as mental demands increase. As Cynthia talks uninterrupted, inconsistencies and over-explanations emerge organically, without the need for confrontation.
this is where I met Chuck Todd, and he was a married man, and he is a Marine, and he's like my dad's age. So I was thinking, got to talking, and because you're sitting in the jacuzzi, the kids, you can still watch them swim. So, and then I had some things, because it was my first time driving fifth wheel, and I'm serious, I ran into some things. So literally, it was like chitty chitty bang bang. I mean, the fenders were hanging, and I hit that, and then the tailgate I forgot to put it down when I pulled out, so it bent. And it was really a bad scene, and I dropped the tire. I guess it hit it too. It was too low because I couldn't back it up, and I got lost in Kingman, and a police officer backed it up and helped me. So I've never driven it. So I was just seeing able-bodied man, and he can maybe help me. And then, so he did. He got me, like, fixed. You know, he, like, screwed things, and then I found out that I had put 2 new batteries in it, and it was reverse polarity, so I just told the kids, we'll have fun with it. If it says on, it's off. If it's up, it's down. If it's in, it's out. And that actually got dangerous because it was blowing fuses and stuff. And then, so he was in the same park. So again, I started to call on him, and we got closer, and I never thought anything of it, like what now I see has happened. He really likes me, and I don't like him like that. So, I mean, not a way it occurred to me. This is in retrospect. Now I can see, because I just had to pull myself to the beginning of where I met him, because it's gone by so fast. Well, since last summer.
The detective subtly allows Cynthia to believe she is directing the interview, choosing the starting point, pacing, and emotional framing of events. This draws on perceived autonomy bias, where individuals who feel in control become less guarded. The more ownership Cynthia feels over the narrative, the more deeply she commits to details that later restrict her ability to revise her story.
He said, no, go ahead, it's okay. And I said, good, because it wouldn't be that safe to drive. So I waited till the next day, and we got back on Sunday. And the only way I could was because this truck offered to drive.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I was a little nervous, you know, it was one thing going up there my first time, but on the way back in the snowstorm with the fifth wheel. And so he said I could take his car and put the kids in there, and he'd drive the fifth wheel. So now here it's true. This man I just met, in retrospect, was driving us back. I didn't, you know, my dad's aging, and he couldn't, and he had cracked his car that summer twice. He had, like, something where his eyes went back in his head, and he went off the road. He's low glycemic, I think we find out now. Okay, so then it was really hot there this summer. So we're coming back on I-40, and it's snowing, and I get back to Prescott, and I said, well, you might as well spend the night because it's late. And we went first to see David straight there, and Chuck walked in and met him. So they knew each other, or met him, you know, for the first time. And David had said to me he doesn't like him for some reason. And I said, well, David, he was uncomfortable in the hospital. He just had a liver transplant, and he's lost 3 of his brothers in the last couple of years, from what I've heard, you know, getting to know him. So then Chuck left the next day, and I thanked him, and then he started to get to know my dad in Boulder. He lives in Boulder City, which is really close to Henderson.
Okay.
So then life went on here, and then I found out David didn't want to come home from the nursing home. He wanted to stay. And so they couldn't let him stay at the Marley home because he technically isn't in a 6-month window.
The detective does not interrupt when Cynthia jumps between time periods, allowing her account to unfold non-linearly. This activates temporal disorganization stress, a phenomenon in which fragmented timelines increase anxiety and cognitive strain in unreliable narratives. As sequencing becomes unstable, Cynthia struggles to maintain internal consistency, weakening the credibility of her account.
You see, there were 6 times he called 911 in like 5 weeks. So if I get one of the emergency calls, he went to the hospital, confused with another one, because right now I don't know the timeline. I don't know if it was the 3rd time he tried to OD, I believe, or the 2nd time, see what I mean, or if it was the 4th. But this started happening then every week. So then I'm reaching out for help. I'm like asking, maybe he needs to go back to a place because what the children are seeing at this level, what he's saying, and just sake too. So I was desperate, and I'm talking to my dad, and he said, call Chuck, you know, he'll do anything. He's like your bro, he's family now. Call Chuck. And I didn't want to because I know he did express some feelings for me and it did make me uncomfortable. So I really hesitated to call him because I didn't want to lead him on. You know, oh, wait till my husband dies like thing, you know, it'd be just you and me, old man. You know, how crazy. I mean, I watched Sons of Anarchy.
I haven't seen that yet, but I've heard it's very, very good.
Well, I'm so far behind. I mean, who knows? By the time I watch it, it's already the end of the season and I miss it and it's so frustrating. But anyway, so he was the last person on earth I honestly wanted to call because I didn't want to lead him on after he was frank with his, you know, his wife just divorced him and I just felt like this isn't a good situation anymore. He's not a married man and all that. So that I did.
Cynthia keeps painting Chuck like a harmless family friend, a temporary helper who just showed up when things got hard. But before we buy that, let's hear what Chuck says their relationship actually was.
You know, we were just getting together, and, you know, next thing I knew, we're kind of having an affair, and there I'm going, oh, God, man, I'm married, she's married, she's got a husband that's dying.
I called him, and I said, can you come help? David's out of control. And he's to the point where he hurts us and stuff, you know, and it's just so extremely difficult. And so after increasing the caregiver's hour to 2,400.
She's building a picture of David as controlling and dangerous, the kind of story that makes everything else feel understandable. But watch this. Chuck repeats that same picture, and it matters where he got it from.
So then she started talking about how her husband abused her, you know, controlled. He was a real big controller. And then she started showing me pictures of the little guy. He was like, this guy just beat the daylights out of him. You know, he'd like a blue mark. She called the police. Prescott Police Department came up. And anyway, they forgot to give him his rights, so he got out of it. So the next thing she tells me is, yeah, then he took his ankle and pulled her down the stairs and twisted her ankle.
And then we're living off the other 1,200. We're not making it. Bills aren't being paid. I can't get David to let me on the accounts.
Cynthia says they were barely surviving, bills stacked, food running out, everything collapsing. But if that's true, then the person offering money isn't just help. It's leverage. And Chuck's version makes that leverage very real.
And she said, I wish I could do this, but I don't have the money. And I said, well, I'll tell you what. I said, for a gift, I'll give it to you guys. So I called up the campground and gave them like $600 something. I forget what it was. I just called it a wash, you know. I
paid for their spot?
Yeah, paid for their spot, you know. And she, you know, texted me a couple times and called me. She says, oh, thank you so much. The kids enjoying it. We went on the train to Grand Canyon, you know, all this stuff. I said, oh, that's good. I said, I'm glad to. And I felt sorry because there's her dad was dying in hospice. You know, and the kids are on summer break. I said, I said, if you need anything from me, just let me know, and I want you guys to have a good summer that you can remember. Because the last 4 years or whatever, been, you know, nothing. They've been always homebound. I paid for his caregiver to stay there for the weekend, on the 22nd, the weekend of the 22nd of September.
So now is he staying at the house at this point?
Yeah, now he's staying at the house.
And they just have a caregiver there.
And I paid her like $400 to, you know, so that they could get away. So she can get away to go to her dad's birthday. So I guess that must have been a $400 piece of glass.
Just let him stack up, and that's the least of my problems. I have kids that are being emotionally and physically abused by him and verbally assaulted by him. And we're not any of us getting sleep because we had to move out of the room down there, so we're all in the family room now because Chuck has that room. And he's just got really worse then. So Chuck came like just those last couple days, I guess, is when all of a sudden it's like a dial. He was more quiet at night when he did night shift. I didn't hear the banging anymore. Or I just slept so hard finally because I could sleep for more than 3-4 hours at a time. I felt like a nursing mom. Everyone asks me, and I'm like, you know that feeling when you're nursing and you're really tired? That's how it feels, but all the time. And you just get used to it. You just do. You just go.
Cynthia frames it like Chuck simply drifted into their life at the worst time. But let's rewind, because Chuck didn't live next door. He had to be called in. And Chuck explains exactly how that happened.
That Tuesday before the 16th, before he died, she called me up a couple of days before that. And she said, Chuck, I really need your help here. The caregiver can only stay here during the day. And I've been up every night, and I can't do it because he's throwing things, he's violent and everything. And I talked to the caregiver, and he told me the same thing. His name was Angel.
Angel's the caregiver?
Yeah.
So then, I don't know, then one day I got up and went in there and I had just moved out, so it was only a couple days I wasn't there. And then a couple days in the office, then I called Chuck. Chuck came in, took the office, so I went downstairs. So I showered down there, and then I come to the office to dress in the bedroom. And when I went into the bedroom, I saw him that morning, and he looked really peaceful. I'll never forget it. But I didn't know he had passed. So I didn't want to wake him because he's sleeping. This is something new. He doesn't sleep for very long, and then he'll yell again. We're trying to kill him, he'd say things, but he's been saying that for months.
Yeah.
So you couldn't take it personal. You just had to say, I'm the caregiver, and he's my husband. He's not the same person, and the kids, we all learned that. That's not Dad right now. That's a kind of crazy cuckoo Dad. And I had to explain, I'm not electrifying you to my son. Because he said one time, I'm electrifying him. And I thought he'd fall out of bed and try, because, he's sneaky. He would take the railing and he would pull it and push the arm down. His right arm was the strong one. And he'd pull himself out of bed and fall down on purpose or get stuck in a transfer and flip out. And he'd scream things like, just kill me, God, take me. And in the mornings, I asked Angel, what is that stuff on his face? And you would grab it and it would be black, and then it would turn something white, red.
Despite mounting inconsistencies, the detective refrains from direct accusation. This leverages anticipatory anxiety theory, which shows that uncertainty produces more psychological stress than confrontation. As Cynthia waits for an accusation that never comes, she continues speaking, attempting to preempt suspicion by over-explaining.
So it was blood and bowel, he said. And I said, well, why is that happening? And then he said, because he's dying. And he wouldn't eat or drink. And Chuck would hold him, and I would put baby things of water down his throat, trying to make him. And he would bite it and crack it, and nothing you could do. So he starved to death. He wouldn't drink, is what happened, I thought. And he said, good morning, and I got dressed and left because I had an appointment at the college for registration. And they called and told me, you got to come home. And I said, why? What did he do? Or the kids, And I didn't think anything of it, so I stayed just to wait. So when she's done, I was waiting for it. And then they called again and said, no, you really got to come home. So I just left and said, what is she supposed to do, take a cab? Yeah, I guess so. She doesn't drive because of her hearing loss. So I got home, and Angel walked out of the bedroom and said, Cynthia, David passed last night. And I said, oh, that's not funny, because we joke a lot, And he had said to me, like the week before, he thought David was getting close, and we were trying vigorously to find a place for him because he didn't want to die in the home. We knew it. That was his wishes. And I didn't want him either. I agreed. So,
by allowing Cynthia to build an expansive, emotionally saturated story, the detective triggers the overexposure effect, where excessive detail undermines credibility. Investigators do not need to refute every claim. The volume alone increases the likelihood of contradiction. Cynthia's attempt to explain everything ultimately weakens her position.
I called all these places. I was trying to get him on long-term Arizona care. I was in the interviewing process. And apparently I owned one too many vehicles, so they couldn't help. And she came out, and I did the paperwork, and I'm in this window, and they're going to call back. And then I missed the appointment. And I was realizing, too, I'm not going to qualify. So I put a property he commuted in for sale. And then I thought, okay, I'll just have my dad transfer the title, and I'll qualify. And then we can get him, because we obviously need more help. We need more help. And Chuck is not that good. He was a lot of work with him there, too. Just the bus that last week every day on purpose so he could drive her. And he's buying junk food in the house, and he's doing things, and I don't like it. And then he wanted to sleep with her. And I thought that was weird, And I'm trying so much to trust him and care for David and do it all. And with Angel there telling me that he thought David looked like he was going to pass soon, I just didn't believe it. I thought, why can't you do something? And understanding the law, you can't restrain him to force him water and the oxygen. He would pull it off every night. And then after he fell and burnt himself, I had just got the radiant heaters because we're off peak.
At critical moments, the detective pauses, offering no response or follow-up. This tactic exploits social completion pressure, the discomfort humans feel when conversational flow stops unexpectedly. Cynthia instinctively fills these silences with additional details, often unnecessary and revealing.
And they're the old-fashioned, oil ones, so they get really hot. And I didn't think anything of it because he had to put in the 20-amp outlet, about there from the bed. And I'm always rotating the bed so he gets a better mountain view or then TV. And, the bed is movable on wheels. Mm-hmm. And then one time when he said about the electrocuting himself, I started to think, he was looking at, because he was refusing water, so the water bottles were starting to collect on his thing. And I'm thinking the next thing he's trying to do is fall and trying to electrocute himself is what I was thinking, because why would he start saying, they're electrocuting me over and over. So, you have to be a step ahead of him, because I knew he was hiding his pills in his belly button. So that's when I was realizing he's not taking them. Yeah, again, he was hoarding them Okay. And then when we saw him in his belly button during a cleaning, and it occurred to me, yeah, that's what he's doing. And then combination with not eating or refusing drink, and they said I couldn't tie him up to force water, Yet I can't tie him up so he won't fall out of bed and hurt himself and burn himself. He was trying, and he was screaming, please kill me, a lot. And I don't know what happened then. If someone really did kill him, it wasn't me, and I didn't do it. And why would they have done that? He's a dying man anyway. Why would they have done that? I wanted to know he died in peace, with no pain. Why? So I'm thinking it was Chuck.
To Cynthia, David's death felt inevitable. His body was simply shutting down. But Chuck recalls hearing something else entirely. Repeated frustration that David wasn't dying fast enough.
She goes, he's going to die in a few days. I said, really? She goes, yeah. She goes, didn't you do something with your hands? I'm going, well, why? She goes, I'm thinking about putting him to sleep.
And it got crazy. You don't understand how bad it got, because when you're in it for so long and the yelling doesn't stop and the screaming, and so we called the list of all the nursing homes, and home hospice came when we were asking for pricing too. And towards the end, we were trying to do whatever we could, and the lady came out one day that week and said, he's not ready. He's not in respiratory distress. And I said, he every morning has bowels, black stuff that comes out with red. And how can he look at his burn? And that's going to infect him, and that's going to kill him, and it's our fault. And I was so upset. I was even got to take him, and they said he's fine. So I talked to Sam Downey. He said, bring him to the hospital again. We're going to have him another psych evaluation. So we get him there, and they sedated him, and the lady must have come in and said he was fine and left. And then the next day he died. So can you believe that? No one thought he was ready to die but me. I mean, or who, they don't know what the truth. We get him cleaned up and he looks so good. And it's a good compliment to a caregiver because he didn't have bed sores, nothing for 2 years in the chair. That means we did our rotations. Yeah. We did the best care we could.
When someone's in bed for that long, too, it's shocking they don't have pressure sores and things.
Yeah, and so I knew that we had good care, but you can't make someone eat or drink.
Right.
By calmly repeating Cynthia's own statements back to her, sometimes verbatim, sometimes paraphrased, the detective forces her to hear inconsistencies aloud. This tactic is rooted in self-discrepancy theory, which posits that psychological discomfort arises when individuals confront contradictions in their self-presentation. Cynthia attempts to resolve this discomfort by adding explanations, often revealing more than intended.
So I said, no, let me go pick her up. We'll go together, and safety's in number. And so when we travel, and I just got the old lady glasses, I'm not good at seeing, so she'd have to read the signs for me and stuff at this point without them. And knowing it'd be in the night and we could split the trip up, then we could go half one day, spend the night with him in his camper at the park, because I didn't have to haul my rig, and he talked me into that. And I'm okay with that, strong-arming me into that stuff. And I know he was manipulating me. I know it. But that's why I thought it was better I go, because then I can say, enough's enough, Chuck. Now, I'd like to go home, and I need some time for just myself and the kids, and put some distance between us where the kids know, because I don't think he was always there. I don't think that they're grieving well. We were given a DVD by Sesame Street, and they laughed the whole time. So like Elmo's uncle dies, and they're supposed to watch this with me. And Chuck was in the room, and for some reason the kids weren't themselves. It didn't allow him to grieve, and they laughed at it. And it was upsetting. And then I'm figuring out the dynamics. They're not comfortable with him there, to grieve and cry with me. So I know something's happening to the kids. and then Taj...
He was stopping them from healing, basically.
What?
I said you're saying kind of Chuck was stopping them from healing.
I think, yeah, because we're not, that's not right. My daughter loves her dad, but she's trying to be strong or something now. I don't know. And Chuck's bringing her to school every day. So, and he won't leave.
Throughout the interview, the detective acknowledges Cynthia's stress, exhaustion, and emotional strain while never affirming her interpretations or conclusions. This tactic exploits effective rapport conditioning, which reduces defensiveness through empathy while preserving investigative neutrality. Feeling emotionally understood, Cynthia continues disclosing, mistaking validation for agreement.
So I finally figured out this idea to get there. And then when I'm there, tell him. But I told him, I said, look, I need this space. I need to know this. I can do this. And it's important we become our family now, and that they know it. And so he was offended. And he said, you're kicking me out after all I've done for you. And I don't understand that. And I'm like, whatever. I don't know what to say, Chuck. I really need my space now. And I didn't tell him about the kids. And then so he said, okay, fine. And then we just got packed, and I thought he'd get over it, like no big deal. But when we were driving there, he was going really fast, and he had in his back seat sleeping, and he was going off the road like 90 miles an hour and stuff. So it really made me nervous. So I tried to pass him one time, and I did. And we finally got him and called him and said, pull over. And I laid into him like, what are you thinking? What's wrong with you? Why would you drive so fast? And I think once he realized, he said first when I told him I'm kicking him out. Well, now he says, well, you're just dumping me. There was no we.
Cynthia suggests Chuck misunderstood her intentions, that his attachment was one-sided. But Chuck says he didn't invite himself into this situation. He was called.
So the first time she ever mentions anything about wanting you to do this was that night?
Yeah.
Never before?
Never before.
Never mentioned it?
The thing was, she must have had this plan because she called me, and that Tuesday I came in.
Mm-hmm.
All I knew was he was violent and she needed help. She wasn't getting no rest.
But that's what she's told you since you met her?
Yeah.
Is that he's a violent guy?
But then I talked to Angel, the caregiver, and he said, oh man, he said, you can't believe what he does. And, I said, I'll come out and help. And I did. And then all of a sudden she drops this thing on me that Thursday, 2 days later, I'm going.
And then I got home, and it was the longest day of my life, and then the car didn't start, and then the kids are hungry, and I got home, and I was just tired, and I got this phone call from someone saying that they were from Biological Resource Center, and that's who has David's body right now. Mm-hmm. I think. I don't know anymore, because then they said they sent it back, and they can tell he's been strangled, and that's strangled, or asphyxiated or something. And so he described it to me. That's a lack of oxygen. So now he's telling me he didn't die of natural causes. I heard it. And so now she thinks. And so I was shocked too. So we both kind of didn't feel good. So we said we'd call it an early night, and I put her to bed. Tasha went to bed and was sleeping with me. And I didn't feel good either, but still. And then this other phone call from the same people came in again. It's a Biological Resource Center, and the guy said, you can make all this go away. And I'm like, well, I don't know what you're talking about, because I don't. What do you mean? How does it go away? It has to be proper. How are you handling his body? And I'm getting upset, thinking, what the heck's going on? And then he asked for money. So I don't know what's going on.
What did he ask for?
He said, it'll all go away, and for what? For, and I just said, no, I don't know what for. And he said, just money. We just want money. So I just said, I'm hanging up now, and hung up. And then bam, bam, you were on the door. Yeah. What's going on? You tell me. This is.
We were contacted by a homicide investigator down there in Phoenix who was contacted by that Biological Services, and they did see evidence consistent with an asphyxiation.
Asphyxiation, it's called.
Yeah, like a lack of oxygen being a cause for death. It appears to be an unnatural death.
An unnatural death. So he was asphyxiated. He was strangled.
Not strangled.
What?
They said there wouldn't appear to be strangulation. It appears to be asphyxiation, like smothered. So that's why, obviously, I wanted to talk to you and see what's going on.
What the hell?
This is the first real corner. The detective introduces an unnatural death, asphyxiation, without calling it murder outright. That wording matters. It's a soft accusation that forces her to react, and her reaction becomes evidence. Shock, denial, and, most importantly, who she names first.
I wouldn't suspect anything but Chuck now if I had to say anything, because I didn't know he would go.
Well, what's the story? I mean, with Chuck, I know you kind of went over everything.
Right. I think he just is so thinking he would have done us a favor, like if he did that. He never told me. He never told. Obviously, he couldn't have told me. I would have called the police, And we were fine. We just needed help. So I don't know why he would have done that. If he did, he's the only one in my house that would have done it unless Angel did it. But Juan on Wednesdays. David always freaked out on Wednesdays. Remember, Wednesday was a weird day. For 6 weeks on a Wednesday in a row is when he would call 911.
Notice what she does immediately. She doesn't ask how they know. She jumps to who did it. Chuck, then Juan. That's displacement. When someone feels threatened, they often move the target away from themselves fast. The detective lets her name suspects because every name is a doorway to motive and access.
every Wednesday night. And the only difference I started to realize was the same variable was Juan works on Wednesdays.
Who was a caregiver there as well as Angel? Or?
Am I on video?
We have video in all the rooms.
So I had asked him kind of jokingly too, kind of like, are you doing, are you giving him extra meds or something? Or what's, I was like, and he described it as he is more of a male role model than Angel, the caregiver, where Angel came from him. So with him, he is more, he doesn't bite him or hurt him or pinch. And
You said he knew Angel from Granite Gate. And all
right.
That, right?
See, so with Angel, he gets away with that behavior, but on Wednesdays, he gets more agitated because it's Juan's there.
The moment she asks, "Am I on video?" you can hear the fear shift from grief to exposure. The detective's answer, "Cameras everywhere," quietly removes her ability to control the narrative. Even if the footage proves nothing, it forces her to speak like someone who might be caught later.
Coming into this, I could have been more proactive. He wouldn't take those drugs, and then Sam said just take him off everything, but he wouldn't take them anyway by that point. So what do? You can't keep forcing the oxygen in him. So I think he slowly suffocated.
I mean, I'm not a doctor. I told you early on, I'm not a medical person. I mean, I have pretty general knowledge of the medical stuff.
Well, I like that thought. He just died peacefully.
Of course. Please.
Now you're saying he didn't?
I'm not saying he didn't die peacefully. I'm just saying he didn't die naturally. To me, it sounds like he didn't really want to.
No, he asked for
anymore.
guns a lot. He was trying to figure out how to kill himself. I know he was. And when he locked himself in the office, I knew he was in that mode.
Is this when you're saying he overdosed? Or?
This was probably another night, one of the other 6 or 7 episodes. But every night was like that. They just didn't all end up in ER.
Okay.
But every night was pretty much the same play out. It's just you're just a different role. Like today I would be his wife, and then tomorrow I wouldn't be, and he'd complain to me about his wife.
Yeah.
So,
David 2 or 3 we check on, and
yeah.
David 1 we check out.
So when he was in the office, I was scared because he has the X-Acto blade cutting knife for architectural, for CAD drawings and stuff. So, it's a little kit. You open it up, and it has all the little blades.
Like a scalpel.
Right. Yeah, they look like that, and they're all different shapes. And so I thought, oh my God, we got to get him out there because I forgot that's in one of the drawers.
Here the detective steers the conversation away from peaceful passing into something sharper, intent and mechanism. She starts describing guns, overdoses, X-Acto blades, suicidal ideation. But the detective keeps repeating one anchor: it wasn't natural. He's shrinking her options: accident, self-harm, or human action.
I can't blame him.
Well, he wasn't there.
Right. So, wow, you're saying someone suffocated him, strangled him.
Well, once again, they didn't say strangled. They said suffocated. I guess
that's
there's
different?
specific things they notice.
Well, why would they call me and ask me for money? Because he said,
That's new to me.
I'm in a position, he said, to either send the body back to the first place, and I forgot what it was called, that place they go. Did he go there? Because he said, no, the body never went there. It came to me. And he took identity that he has the body. He has my husband's body. And if I give him enough money or something, this will all go away.
See, that's new to me. My understanding is that they contacted police at the biomedical. I'm sorry, I don't know the name off the top of my head.
It's on my phone.
Okay. No, I know I can get the information. I just
Okay.
mean, I don't know. But my understanding is they contacted Phoenix Police Department or whatever agency.
Do they know we don't have money? Where they think we cash the life
Obviously,
insurance to pay for care?
The
How or where do they think I have money? Everyone
I
thinks
don't
a widow's going to have all this money. Really? Do they not know what medical bills caused?
in this day and age, yeah,
4 years of this.
I can't.
We have no money. Why would they think I even have that kind of money to pay off anybody for anything?
I don't know. That's new to me.
Who
That's news
is
to me.
this?
I'll find out. I can find that much out. See who discovered it and see from
I
there.
should have known a name like Zen. He
Zen.
said his name was Zen. Isn't that the guy on Thing 1 and Thing 2, and then there's a Zen?
Cat in the Hat?
Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The Zen. You know, where those little guys and they get a haircut every day, and by the time they're in line, it grows again, and then they cut it again.
I remember Thing 1, Thing 2.
Oh, yeah,
And the
Thing 1
fish.
and Thing 2. Yeah, okay, that's it.
The Zen phone calls become her escape hatch. If it's a scam, then maybe the death is normal. Watch the detective's posture. He doesn't argue the weirdness. He separates it. He treats it as a parallel thread, so she can't use it to dissolve the core issue. The medical examiner says unnatural.
That's about all.
Zen's in there. Zen is... No, it's Dr. Seuss. Zen has a funny thing. I don't know. Whatever, why are we talking about this? Oh, because this guy said his name was Zen.
Okay. Like I said, I'm sure I can find out exactly who called you and all
Yeah,
that.
because
That would
he said, then the second time he called, so then I'm thinking all this is a hoax now. Everything from the beginning, nothing's wrong with David.
It's fine.
Like, would be great to continue to think he passed, not in pain or anything, right?
Well, at this point, we've been advised it appears that there was an unnatural death that occurred.
Okay.
And we've heard that from the Phoenix Police Department Homicide Division.
Because where's his body?
His body right now is
Yeah.
down there in Phoenix,
Okay.
but it's no longer at that facility.
So where is he?
Right now, he's at the medical examiner's office down there in Phoenix, but he hasn't been examined yet, except a preliminary examination.
Okay. So he's not in
And I don't want to be
the
rude,
hands
actually.
of some weirdo wanting money.
Nothing like
Okay.
that.
All right.
I'm actually going to take a bathroom break here real quick.
Yeah, I'm
Do you need
good.
to use the restroom?
I'm good.
Okay.
And I just
I'll be
don't
right
know
back,
what else
okay?
to
I just-
tell you that I
and I
could be
apologize.
leaving out.
Well, I'd obviously like to touch up on everything just to make sure I get a clear understanding, because you got to keep in mind, you're telling me about
A
lots of
whole
stuff.
years of stuff.
And it's a
Yeah.
lot for me to absorb here. So I'd like to go back through with you just through some of the stuff, if you
Okay.
don't mind. I apologize. I just got to
That's
use the
fine.
bathroom.
Yeah. I'm not going to buy the car at the end of
When a detective confirms the body is at the medical examiner's office and then steps out, it's not just logistics, it's a reset. He's letting the pressure marinate. Then he returns with a deliberate move. Let's go back through everything. That's where contradictions get harvested.
Okay. Like I said, you just told me all about like a year and change of stuff, and obviously I can't absorb everything. If you don't mind, if we just go back through some of the stuff here, just so I can get it straight in my head.
There is one other element that I think is weird about this whole thing. When I got a referral from True Value to call Dan Toth, who did construction on our home, whose brother, after using him for construction on the home, David worked with him well.
This is classic containment. He frames her story as too big, too messy, then requests a clean timeline that forces her to commit to sequence, names, and specific events. A long emotional story is flexible. A timeline is a trap. Once she agrees to reorder it, she loses maneuvering room.
His brother, he volunteered, our first caregiver was named Lou Toth, his brother, who said he was a CPA and that he could help us for like little and no money. So we had him come in and I liked him. And then I started having problems with him. He had alcohol on his breath a couple times. I addressed it to David. David said, don't worry about it. And he was a recently married man. And then when I met his wife at the school orientation, that was about the time that David had just left to go to the care home. The first time?
The Marley.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Lou, and then when I came back, Lou had signed medical power of attorney to him saying that I wouldn't do his wishes. But Lou said I was having affairs to him when I left.
Lou said that
David.
And
Yeah.
David signed
Power of attorney to him.
To Lou.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Lou had wanted his truck in the camper because he made it very clear he would work for the camper or the truck.
Trade out.
Yeah. And so it just upset me so much. I empowered myself to drive it. It's like, you can't sell this because we're saving it. I mean, David could get better. That's why we didn't sell it at first, because he's going to need his truck. And a man's ego, don't take his truck.
Now she introduces Lou, another helper, who somehow ends up with power of attorney rumors, funeral planning, and accusations of cheating. The detective doesn't react emotionally. He just listens for leverage, control over paperwork, access to assets, and who is planting ideas in David's ear.
I can't help him. So we never sold his truck. And when Lou started talking about taking his truck, I was like, well, we need it. And I'll go camping. And so when we got that respite, the first thing I could do is show him that I can do it.
Right.
So I took the camper and I did it. And
that
I
was the
did
first
do
time
it.
You went out there to the campsite your dad found. And all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I did break the awning and the fenders and a lot of stuff fell off.
Yeah.
But it made it.
Yeah. And you learned how to drive it.
Yeah, and then I should tell you this other thing that happened that summer too. So this Lou got David convinced I was having affairs because I would pull up christianmingle.com. And this was just a period between husband and wife where he kept saying, well, Cindy, you're just going to marry some rich man and you'll be fine. And I said, no, I'm not going to be fine because I'm not remarried. And let me just show you what's out there. And it was between us. And we were laughing at this one guy's profile. We didn't pay money, so it's not like we can talk to him and talk back. I mean, it's just like a smiley icon and things from what I learned. But I went to Christian Mingle, A, I'm Christian, and B, they have a prayer group. And I can go in there and talk to other women that have lost husbands and with children and stuff. And so I talked to a few people then. I paid one site for a prayer, I know, and then that's what triggered all this. I think a lot of those sites hitting my website then. But anyway, I was having affairs. So David knows it's not true. I mean, we have an unequivocal marriage. That's just so, that's the last thing we did. I mean, why?
The break line story is massive because it reframes her as a target. But investigators hear something else. Escalating conflict, assets, and people fighting over property. Whether the sabotage is real or not, it expands the suspect pool, and it exposes motive, money, control, and desperation.
I did the best I could. And now someone just takes everything and in vain and
well, nobody's passing judgment. No one's saying you didn't do the best you could.
No,
like said,
but he suffered. I cared for him so he didn't suffer.
I don't know if he suffered. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he passed in an uncomfortable way.
Oh.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it does not appear his cause of death was a natural cause of death.
Well, ALS doesn't appear to be natural to anybody. Everything.
I'm not a doctor. I'm not weighing in on that.
I'm not either. Know. I mean, when you have bowels coming out your mouth, I don't know. That didn't look too normal to me. Jordan.
Right. Can you tell me more about Chuck? Where's the park you kind of met him at there first? Because I obviously like to talk to him too.
Well, after today, I think he's incarcerated. I left. The car didn't start. I got going, and then when they came and said, do you want to, they didn't ask me if I want to press charges or anything. They just said, fill out this report, and I did. Of what happened. He tried to run us off the road is all I could see.
Well, when I arrest somebody, if that happens, you always see if they want to press charges, I'm surprised they didn't ask.
Well, they took him because I think I heard strangulation. Yeah, before they separated him, he said, I strangled somebody. So then I was like, what's going on?
He said he strangled somebody?
Yeah, and I think he said he strangled David.
Did he?
That's what
why
I
didn't
think.
You say that earlier? That's kind of...
Well, because that's why I was wondering why he was freaking out.
And then comes the line that changes everything. She says Chuck said, I strangled somebody. I strangled David. The detective pounces, not with anger, but with disbelief. Why didn't you say that earlier? Because timing reveals intent. Late disclosures often appear when a story starts collapsing.
That's what
Why
I
didn't you
think.
say that earlier? That's kind of.
Well, because that's why I was wondering why he was freaking out. Like he had to talk to me, remember? And I said I didn't want to. I didn't want to be alone with him anymore. I finally got him out of my house, and things were following plan.
Where's he
he's
at
gonna
now?
stay
Like,
there.
where was this at when this
He's
happened?
in
This
jail
in
now.
Nevada, you're saying?
Yeah, that's
Where,
why.
where in Nevada is he?
Henderson police picked. I called 911 when he tried to run me off the road,
Mhm.
and then they separated us. And when the police got there, it took forever. I never swore. I thought it was weird.
I guess those bigger cities take a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Boulder City is a little smaller town outside Henderson, and then it goes Vegas. I mean, everyone says Vegas, and we're like, I have yet to get to Vegas. I go there to this campsite and to my dad's house. That's as far as I've got. I am not the party girl people think. I am blonde because my husband made me have blonde hair. It's what he wanted.
So, especially now, I want to know everything there is to know about you. What the whole history is. I mean, everything, because
Well,
odds are pretty strong. I'm going to
he
talk to
kept
him.
coming on to me a lot there, and I think he eluded himself that he that we were going to be a couple or something. And that's why that night he said he just really needed me alone and wanted to take me out, and I didn't know if that meant to the jacuzzi where I met him, you know, just sitting side by side watching kids play in the pool. I mean, it was innocent enough, but I think a lot has gone on that he thinks he's a hero now to me because he came and helped.
Mhm.
And I just remember Angel and I laughing. I mean, he was thinking he was such a hot dog because he changed one diaper. We do this 3-4 times a day for years. It's no big deal, really. You know, it's routine. You get used to everything. And so...
Cynthia minimizes Chuck's role financially. Small favors, nothing more. But Chuck describes paying again and again, not as generosity, but as obligation.
I paid for his caregiver to stay there for the weekend. On the 22nd, the weekend of the 22nd of September.
So now is he staying at the house at this point?
Now he's staying at the house.
And they just have a caregiver there.
And I paid her like $400 to, you know, so that they could get away, so she can get away to go to her dad's birthday. So I guess that must have been a $400 piece of glass.
kind of like, okay, you're not that great, you know, and you're really bugging me with my kids, actually, because we're not getting any quality time, and the routine's all screwed up. The homework's not being done. They're not getting dressed. He's controlling the show now, and I just...
Confusing.
Oh, the kids, yeah. I don't know who's where, sleeping where anymore, who's doing what. I usually keep track of my kids a little better, but he just takes them now to the store whenever. And he's trying to fill David's shoes, and it's not working. I never attempted to do that. I would never have. And now I think that's what he's thinking. We were going to be this couple.
No.
He's like 68 years old.
I haven't met him, I don't know, but obviously.
I know, it's really weird.
I'm very interested in talking to him.
Well, he's in jail.
Okay.
Apparently,
easy
my
enough.
dad, then when I called him after that guy called and said, this will all go away with money.
Your dad?
No,
Oh, no,
I called
okay.
my dad when that guy called me and said, this will all go away with money. Then my dad said, oh my God, Chuck's in jail, Cindy. They've charged him with murder. And I'm sitting here. No one's telling me what's going on.
This is the moment her story turns from confusion to certainty. She says Chuck is in jail, charged with murder, yet admits she doesn't actually know what he's charged with. That gap matters. Investigators listen closely when certainty appears before confirmed facts.
I got some call from some guy saying if I get money, it all goes away. What goes away? Strangulation? I mean, that's what Chuck was saying when we pulled in, when the police came, and I had the window down a little bit so I could communicate. And I heard him saying strangulation. I strangled somebody. So I'm like, oh my God.
Cynthia says she heard something maybe struggle, maybe strangle, like it's all just noise she can't place. But Chuck doesn't describe confusion. He describes a decision. And what he says next changes everything.
I said, pinch his nose, take the pillow, and take your fist and put it in his mouth. So he won't, so she tried that, and he, and then all of a sudden.
She tried this Thursday night.
Okay.
Were you in the room when she tried it?
We were both in the room.
Okay, so let me ask you, so what does she do first? You said something about the trash bag.
Got it around the neck.
What kind of trash bag?
Like a clear, like what you get.
Just for a wastebasket?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it have a tie on it once?
No, you just a regular, you tie a knot like you're throwing out in the garbage.
So she puts a trash bag over his head. Okay.
So then she she tried to suffocate him, and she ran off. So I said, "Oh God!" So
when you say she tried, was it just trash bag, or did she try with the pillow?
No, it was a pill.
The pillow that was on his bed, or the pillow from somewhere else?
On the bed.
Okay.
Yeah, she took it from back.
So she takes the trash bag, puts it around his head, ties it around his neck.
Yeah.
And then takes the pillow.
Well, I don't know if she tied it tight. I think she just tweaked it and type thing. But anyway, I finished it off.
This killed my husband. He killed David. He killed David, or is he saying I strangled David? I don't know. I'm the last to know any of this. I'm the last to know that the brakes are cut, that this is happening. Now someone wants some money.
Well, look, give me maybe more specific, like a play-by-play of what happened with Chuck when he came out here recently.
Okay, when he first got here.
You know what day that was? Or what day of the week?
That's a good one. I hardly know.
Okay, that's fair.
I really don't. I don't know. I think he came in on a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Something about a Tuesday. I can remember it being Chuck's coming on Tuesday. Probably making beds, getting things ready for him, figuring out who's going to sleep where now, the shuffle.
Here, the detective shifts gears. He stops reacting emotionally and asks for play-by-play. This isn't small talk, it's structure. A detailed timeline forces memory to collide with reality. And that's where unreliable stories start to crack.
Oh, yeah. I didn't want him to sleep in the house. I wanted him to stay in the camper. And he refused. Because my dad's like, you just call Chuck and he'll come help you now. Sounds like David's getting close to passing and, you'll want him there and la 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 and whatever. Just do it. It's easier, But Chuck drives me crazy. He talks. He's an old man. It's like the same story stuff.
It's classic old man type stuff.
Yeah.
This detail seems minor, but it's not. Chuck refusing to stay in the camper changes access. Access means opportunity. Investigators catalog who slept where, who moved freely, and who crossed boundaries, especially when a helper insists on being inside the home.
No, maybe, I know.
I get
He's not.
claustrophobic in fries.
You
Personally.
probably have to go out.
Yeah.
Oh, fries.
I said I got claustrophobic in fries.
The day before Thanksgiving was awful. We had a guy
I did
pushing
that.
us in Walmart, hit our cart. And I will never do the Black Friday thing again. Because
No
it's
way.
the last Christian. People are mean.
Oh, yeah.
They knocked over this whole thing of DVDs in Target a couple years when I tried the Black Friday thing. And then I waited in front of for the discount on the camera deal. So you had to be one of the first ones. And as soon as they open the doors, everyone cuts in. And
Right.
so what was the whole point? We froze 4 a.m. out there, freezing. It was, never again.
Yeah.
Ever. It takes a while to learn.
Oh, yeah. Can't learn until you do something.
Anything to get out of the house.
Yeah.
Really, but not that. No, just it was not a good place to be. the people's attitudes. Like, they forget what's the purpose of Christmas. There's no Jesus here at all. No.
Any given retail store in the Christmas season, it's pretty well forgotten. So, just if I can get more details though, like he got in on Tuesday. You guys set up the camper for him stuff. He didn't want to stay in it.
Right. So we had to. So he and Angel went back out the next day, and I guess closed it all up and stuff. We had to. It wasn't closing up very well because it had got hit. Like I hit a few stop signs. My taxes paid for that.
That's right.
But anyway, I guess it took two people, so we took Angel with him to close it up. The one slide out has to be lifted and pushed in.
Yeah. And then, so you said he was doing care for David. Like, when would he do care for David?
Oh, well, we had to teach him because he didn't know what to do.
You and Angel did, or?
Yeah. And then even, I think, maybe Juan, he did a shift with Juan. And Juan works at Los Fuentes.
Now the detective listens for mechanics. Who taught Chuck? Who supervised him? And when he was alone with David. In homicide cases involving caregivers, process is evidence. Every routine described becomes a potential point of intervention or interference.
Then, because someone called APS. I know
I
David
mean, honestly, if we came out 6 times, it probably just, one of our guys probably forwarded it on. Odds are pretty strong.
Because he screams these things, like we're hurting him and trying
I'm
to
sure
kill him.
probably just odds are like liability.
I mean, he's been screaming and we've been poisoning him for a long time, guys.
No, my point is though, if 6, you said we came out 6 times,
Yeah.
odds are pretty strong. Somebody forwarded one report or another to APS. I'm just
No,
saying.
but the guy said, the APS guy said when he came, and I was like, glad, because like, please,
Right, get some
because he
help.
screams, I'm poisoning him all day long. I mean, please, somebody realize I'm not. Well, every time we went to the hospital, they did blood tests. There's no one poisoned.
Right.
So that was just not true. Well, anyway, Juan, who comes on Wednesdays, knows Virginia, who's the one that the guy at APS, Adult Protective Service, said he was called by someone in Los Fuentes. That was mandated when he heard this. So Juan's talking, you know how they talk, worse than why it is a sin, because they can get out of control. Oh, and that's why I was mad at Chuck not long, because when he came once for my birthday, just to give me something, I thought it was more trouble than it was worth, and please don't, but he did. He showed up, kissed me on the lips in my driveway.
Chuck did?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So I told my dad right away, I said, you know what, this is the last time I ever want to see him. But if I wasn't desperate, I would have never called him again. Because I knew I was playing with fire.
Well,
I mean, I know this guy he told me he loved me. And I couldn't, but he promised he wouldn't do that again. And he promised he would keep everything separate, his feelings.
This is a psychological pivot. She admits Chuck kissed her, and she knew it was dangerous. When someone acknowledges a boundary breach before the crime, detectives see foreknowledge. I knew I was playing with fire reframes later events as foreseeable, not accidental.
Because this isn't about that. Right now, we're in survival mode here. We are in crisis. And we're getting hurt, and the kids are losing it. And until I can get him, and he was promised to come and help me. He's just had a liver transplant. He's knows the system, why I'm not getting help when they come and do this. How is he falling through the cracks? And he promised he would help and not charge. So that was attractive too, knowing that I'm getting food boxes. And I was getting help. We weren't making it. I mean, we were not. We were running out of food to pay the bills. So Tasha would beg him to like waive late charges and stuff, and she was helping do the find it and teach me how, because David didn't let me and I didn't know passwords. Right. So we had no computers that worked, no nothing. No phones half the time. They don't talk to me because I'm not on the accounts. Right. And so they said unless I had power of attorney, well, even then they don't, it's not enough.
No. They get to run around.
Oh, yeah. So I'm like, well, why don't we just not pay them? Maybe they'll turn them off. Hey, what did I
they'll call you back.
Yeah. But anyways, that's always a struggle. And then Chuck was going to help with all that. And he was just going to come in and be this hero. And his thing. But to me, I was already really not wanting to, not knowing. He's obviously, I found out last night when he started throwing stuff, he's very volatile, and he has an anger control problem, like they think I do.
Here the motive triangle sharpens. Financial collapse, emotional exhaustion, and Chuck positioning himself as the hero. Investigators know this pattern well. When help becomes indispensable, influence follows. And influence can quietly turn into control.
Because he's dying. What are you going to do? Why would I call? He's sorry. He beat it.
He's not in control.
No, he's not. But when my dad heard, I think he got really upset. He never liked David very much. It's because he didn't understand our faith. He's not Christian. He doesn't understand commitment of a covenant marriage. He doesn't understand it.
When did, the real David kind of check out? I mean, when was it when you realized he wasn't coming back?
Yeah, that was hard. I kept being in denial after Angel said, Cindy, when I see him like this, they usually don't last long. So that was about even before Chuck came, that week. That the lady came out from, the week before he died.
So literally a week prior.
Well,
Angel
the election. He watched it. Angel watched. Oh my God, gross. He watched the election with him all day Tuesday and got really agitated. I mean, that spun him into David 3.
Yeah.
And we lost David the rest of the night and stuff from that.
I mean, did David Warren come back after the election at all?
No, he never did.
Came back.
No, in fact, it got worse because he was there. We could talk about it. He would, he would fight back with the election when the East Coast vote came in. Mm-hmm. He would get upset. I mean, you could tell he was there. He came, because the next morning I asked him on Wednesday, who won? And he said the same guy. So he knew it was Obama. Right. But he said.
The election becomes a timestamp. She says David never returned after that night. Detectives love fixed events because they don't move. Once a last normal moment is identified, everything after it is examined as potential escalation.
So she left, and she had to leave anyway. I was just trying to get her to clean it before she left, maybe before we moved in it, because my kids sleep on the floor in there, and it was like pure black.
Yeah.
So she flipped out, so she needs to go back to her AA classes, apparently. And then Chuck came, and I moved back in our camper, and so that was the last time I saw him.
Okay.
I don't even think he came. I just left his key where it was in his bumper again.
Yeah.
I don't remember, actually. It's getting hard, and it's getting spotty.
Well, listen, I know you got a whole lot of history you're trying to cover here and explain to somebody who has nothing to do with it, so I appreciate you taking the time. Like I said, though, I really want to get kind of an idea of what happened during that week, to get an idea of what Chuck was doing and things like that, because I think that's going to be pretty important.
He would take him to, I know he took him to McDonald's, Taco Bell, and I was complaining about the junk food. It was giving me time then to do things I needed because Angel leaves at 3:30, so the kids are home, so I'm home. So because he came, then it allowed me to do things that Tasha needed to get done.
This is containment. The detective deliberately narrows the lens to one person and 1 week. When stories sprawl, narrowing forces commitment. Every movement Chuck made is now pinned to time, place, and witnesses, details that can be checked.
I guess they were doing a search warrant at the house. They're trying to go through everything, obviously.
Still?
Well, yeah, I guess they're just getting wrapped up. But they wanted the combination to the safe.
Nobody knows it. That's the thing.
I guess what they said was if they don't have a combination, they have to actually seize the whole safe.
Which one?
I'm not sure.
There's two.
Okay. What are the two?
One's in the bedroom closet. Mm-hmm. That's going to be embarrassing. It's personal stuff.
I know. It's one of those things where we have reason to believe, once again, your husband died a natural death. It's something we have to go through everything. I'm sorry. I know this is uncomfortable, and I know it's got to be invasive, but it's something that we do have to go through.
The one in the garage has the guns in it, and I don't know it. David forgot it. He couldn't even do it even a couple months ago.
They've moved past talking and into search and seize mode. The safe isn't just embarrassing personal items. It's a controlled way to see how cooperative she is when privacy is threatened. In interrogations, discomfort often makes people over-explain, and over-explaining creates evidence.
And we had his cheat sheet.
And
he couldn't even do it with his cheat sheet. So we knew.
He was probably.
Yeah, it's really.
Well, how about
weird.
the one in the bedroom? What's the combination?
Well, that one's mine, and that's just girl stuff.
Like I said, it's something we have to go through regardless. If we can't open up unseen, we're going to have to seize the safe and get somebody to open it for us.
It's 02240.
02240.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, obviously everyone here's professional. Nobody's going to be.
Well, there's a dildo in there and some of my meds. And so.
That's nobody's business. And like I said, that's not anything anyone. And I apologize for having to do that.
And then it should be medical.
Notice how fast she blurts out details, codes, contents, excuses, like she's trying to control the narrative before it controls her. The detective stays calm and procedural, letting her talk herself deeper while he quietly collects specifics he can later verify.
By the way, on that note, strange things have been missing from my house.
Like what?
Birth certificate went missing, her whole file. Her medical record, her social security card. I've called social security and let them know. I don't know what happened, but as 11, so I know Angel's mom's not legal, and so I didn't know if maybe his sister's.
Well, to be honest, on that part, I'm not going to worry about that quite so much now. Obviously, it's something we can report, but
Right, but
we're-
other stuff was important. Papers went missing too. The medical power of attorney went missing. For
now,
David.
as far as like life insurance
Me.
stuff, does he have any other policies out there that somebody might have tried to reassign a beneficiary? Or
Oh, I don't know.
you don't know if he has any existing life insurance policies that weren't cashed out.
Then she pivots. Papers are missing. That's a classic shift. When pressure rises, she introduces a new crisis to redirect attention. But the detective counters with a real motive lane: policies, beneficiaries, money trails. Because in this case, finance isn't background, it's potential fuel.
The only one I knew about was his work that he cashed half of it out.
Cashed out, okay.
And then the 401k, so there's only 200 left with 170 mortgage. So
Okay.
there you go. He did the math.
Yeah.
We're going to be fine.
Okay. So just enough to cover the mortgage and funeral expenses and things like that.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, then we're just like everyone else, paycheck to paycheck, no savings, nothing. Kids, no college yet, nothing. Which is fine. I'm going to be a daycare mommy, hopefully.
There you go. So he had cashed out half the policy and then made donations and things for it and did the Irrevocable Trust and stuff like that. And then he still has the 401k and the other half of life insurance. So.
No, he'd take the 401k too. He had $250,000 at the beginning of summer. Now there's nothing.
Where'd it go?
Well, he had some left. When he gave me power of attorney, he said, I want you to take those monies, increase his care to $2,400. So I did. So Angel went to the double shift. And then with the rest, pay off the mortgage so it's under 100. And we both agreed. And he had said that a long time ago. He wanted to do that when he came home. So he said he would do that if he had any monies left. So then when I found out what the monies were, they were like $92,000. So I increased Angel's hours and I transferred it and paid down the mortgage to every dime, every penny, exactly like he wanted.
Okay.
This is where money turns from vague stress into a measurable timeline. $250K to nothing. The detective doesn't accuse. He just keeps confirming numbers. Every agreement becomes a pin in the map, and later, pins become contradictions.
But he got upset still.
Yeah.
Because the power thing. He
Right.
doesn't like to be not in control. Because I did it. He didn't. He didn't like that. He was very agitated again. Sent him into spirals again of, for a while. And then I don't know if he really understood it. I had to do that to pay bills too. I mean, they're stacked up again on me, but that's okay.
Well, let me ask you this. Honestly, you're telling me Chuck told you he strangled your husband?
No, I'm assuming he said that. Because he said something about strangling when I heard him today. When the police had him over there and I was over here with kids crying and stuff, and I had the window down a little bit, I thought I heard the word struggle. Or strangle or struggle. Something. So I'm thinking, then when my dad told me Chuck's in jail for murder, I'm thinking, oh my God, he murdered my husband. I mean, I'm still just trying to get this.
I mean, why do you think
he would
Chuck
do
did
that?
it?
Because he loves me, he told me.
Yeah.
If he did it and then I refused him, so he did it for nothing, why would he have done that?
Now she supplies the motive herself. He loved me. To buy my love, you owe me. The detective barely reacts, because letting a suspect generate motive is gold. If she says it first, it sounds like truth, even if it's just her trying to make sense of panic.
Thinking to buy my love, David wasn't going to last much longer anyway. Why would he have done that?
Well,
to have something over me? Because he said that too, you owe me. And I didn't know what he meant. What do I owe him? He bought the kids a ping pong table. It was $150. I didn't want him to. And then I agreed, okay, if you set it up. And so that's all they did Thanksgiving, him and my dad, is set up the ping pong table. Because then I was thinking, and David's trains are kind of his legacy, then they could set the trains on it. So they talked me into it. And I was like, okay, then that's Merry Christmas to the kids from you. You're a hero again.
What do you think should happen to Chuck?
I don't know if he really said that and did it. I think he should be punished to the extent of the law. My kids thinking that their dad died like that. And me, everything I've done in vain. Thinking about the passing, And he suffered. If he strangled or whatever he's saying, did suffocated is different.
What it's looking
That's
like.
painful, I'm sure. He would have known something, right? Was happening.
I'm trying to get, again, as far as really specific. You're saying the night that your husband passed away, Chuck checked on him at 2 a.m?
Yeah, and then I was the next one in, because I get in, I'm up before Angel gets there.
The detective tightens a trap. Who checked on David and when? You can hear the box closing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights. If Chuck is the only one doing checks, then the window for smothering collapses onto a very small list of people.
You're saying the night that your husband passed away, Chuck checked on him at 2 a.m?
Yeah, and then I was the next one in, because I get in, I'm up before Angel gets there to get dressed, and sometimes I live in my nightie. It depends how the morning goes, if they miss the bus or what.
On the medical
Trauma
ones and
drama.
stuff, did Chuck sign off on all those too? You were saying everything's tracked and
Right.
Did he sign off on those?
Well, David wasn't taking meds anymore, and he stopped eating and drinking, so he didn't sign anything per se, but he was doing night shift. That's why he came, to give me a break.
Right.
So it was the second or third night that I actually got to sleep in a row. So if he came on, I don't know, he passed on Friday, right? And he came on Tuesday, so he wasn't there very long.
No, yeah, Tuesday. So Tuesday,
Wednesday to Thursday to Friday. So he was there 1 night, 2 night, 3 night, 4 nights.
So he was there after David passed also?
Yeah, this was the first time Chuck left, is when I said, let's go after Grandpa came.
The situation, right. I imagine you probably were joking or something and made an off-color comment. You already said you guys were joking about it in the house.
No, not to kill anyone.
Well, something where, oh, he's still alive, stuff like that.
No.
As a joke.
Our jokes were more like, who are you going to be today? Because you'd have to play detective. You would have to play
you even
officer.
Specifically said, like,
Today.
He came, one morning he came out, he's still alive, but it's a darker sense of humor. You guys are dealing with a stressful situation. You said that, I get that.
Okay.
I've dealt with family members going through
because that stuff happened. Yeah, stuff would fly.
Once you
all
said,
hiding.
people who are around these type of things, normal people don't get it. We get exposed to a lot of different stuff.
What's normal in there?
Well, exactly. But my point is...
No, I
is
never
people don't
allowed
get-
anyone to talk like that, but the kids started to say mean things too.
Well, I mean, you even said yourself, I mean, you guys would say it, but it makes
Not
sense.
say killing her.
Well, say he's still alive and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
When Cynthia talks about joking around death, she frames it as stress relief, words taken out of context. But Chuck remembers those conversations as something else entirely, reassurance that nothing would be discovered.
She was already planning on going to Phoenix on Monday to get all her paperwork done so that she can get death certificates, his insurance money, all this stuff.
She already said
She
that.
already planned, yeah, she's already had this all planned. I mean, when she asked me this on Thursday, and then she told me about there won't be no autopsy, nobody's going to be able to know anything. And I'm going, did you just pick me out for this or what, you know?
Did he mention the word strangulation to you?
If it was strangle or strangulation, it wasn't that big long of a word. I heard an S word.
Was it smother?
That's what you were saying.
Like I said, asphyxiation was, they said not strangulation.
Took me here and put him
I was
there.
told when someone's strangled, there's a small bone in the throat called the hyoid,
Okay.
and it snaps, and it wasn't snapped. But there was still strangulation or suffocation that took place, is what I was told. So that's why they're saying smothering.
Tasha said something. I don't know. Was it Tasha said she heard Chuck say? That's where I heard it. Through Tosh. She said she heard Chuck because I was over here, and then we can't talk because we have kids in the car the whole way back. But I think she said she heard him say something about strangulation. Is what I was thinking. So it got me thinking, yeah, that's pretty bad. That's wrong. I mean, that's just not how to do it.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, what he said to you during these times, what you said to him, what he might have misconstrued what you told him.
Why? If I went to moved out of that upper bedroom, he couldn't have, I would be doing nights then, because that's why you're there. We first, I think, put him in, I wish I could just remember better now. Because,
But you're saying as far
the
as...
bedroom under...
Well, Cynthia, you're saying
Yeah.
Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and Thursday night,
Yeah.
that...
Beds,
Chuck.
we all kind of moved, rotated beds, and I think that's key
But I'm
because...
saying, but you're saying Chuck was the only one that checked on David on those evenings.
Right.
Okay.
When he came, I was like...
Like, when was your shift over on those nights?
The detective keeps narrowing the same question. Who was there and when? Cynthia's answers stay foggy. So here's the problem. Chuck's timeline is a lot clearer, and it pins down the exact window investigators care about.
So anyway, I said, okay, I'll come up and help you out.
Were you here?
No,
Or
I
were
was
you-
back in
You were
Washington.
back in Washington?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I told my wife, I said, hey, she's having a hard time with her husband. Can I go out there and help? She said, sure, go ahead.
So when you come down, do you fly or do you?
Yeah, I fly.
You fly here into Vegas and then you got.
Yeah. See, that's where I current on USMC. You can,
Just push the button and go up there.
so he probably called me. He called me, I don't know how many times. But anyway, where were we there?
So she called you and said, hey, I
She called
need
me,
some help.
so I went and got a ticket. That's right, because it was Veterans Day. It was that Monday. So
Right.
Tuesday I left. I told her, I said, look, I said, tickets are like $300 on Monday. So my ticket's $56 on Tuesday. I said, I'll be down Tuesday. I took the early flight down to Vegas. I went and got my car out of Boulder City, and I shot up there.
So you got down there
Tuesday night. Tuesday night. So anyway, you know, the caregiver the next day was showing me how to change them and move, you know, turn them around and everything. She said, I'm so thankful that you're here and everything. I said, well, that's cool. You know, I said, don't worry. I said, I'll take care of you guys. And anyway, it was like Thursday afternoon or something. I think it was after the caregiver already left.
What time is the caregiver?
3:30.
And what time would he come in the morning?
Usually comes about 8 o'clock.
Oh, so he's there
Yeah.
for half the day pretty much.
So anyway, we go in and help him and everything, and he at this time he's just looking up, he's just like, all of a sudden he's calmed down now. She's loading him with sleeping pills and stuff. And then other times he gets really violent, and it seems like it's always at nighttime. Mm-hmm. He's got one right arm that's just, everything else doesn't work, but his right arm is just strong. I mean, I got marks from him grabbing me and pinching me and stuff.
Believe me that it gets that crazy. Yeah, he punched him. Then he was holding it.
Chuck punched David, or David punched Chuck?
I don't know. There's always struggles. I got whacked in the eye that night too. Because when you're restraining, if you let go, then it hits. And so I'm doing paracare. He was restraining and he let go, so it hit my eye, but I had glasses on.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so I didn't know what to do.
So when you got off shift Thursday night, what time was that, give or take?
I don't think I came up. I just went down and slept in my clothes that night. Because to go back in there after he's sleeping, I might wake him up,
Well, what time do you think that was?
Because my closet's in the master's.
I mean, when did you leave David that evening?
8:39, I'm thinking, in there.
Cynthia says she went to bed that night, that whatever happened, happened without her. But Chuck says when the moment came, she wasn't asleep. She was waiting.
I told her to get a pillow, and I said, I don't know how long it's going to take, but you have to press down on his nose. I said, pinch his nose, take the pillow, and take your fist and put it in his mouth. So he won't, So she tried that, and he, and then all of a sudden.
She tried this Thursday night?
Thursday night.
Okay. Were you in the room when she tried it?
We were both in the room.
Okay, so let me ask you, so what does she do first? You said something about the trash bag.
She got it around the neck.
What kind of trash bag?
Like a clear, like what you get.
Just for a waste basket?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it have a tie on it once?
No, you just a regular.
Okay.
You tie a knot like you're throwing out in the garbage.
So she puts a trash bag over his head. Okay.
So then she tried to suffocate him, and she ran off. So I said, "Oh God!" So
when you say she tried, was it just trash bag, or did she try with the
pillow? No, it was a pillow.
The pillow that was on his bed, or the pillow from somewhere else?
On the bed. Okay. Yeah, she took it from back.
So she takes the trash bag, puts it around his head, ties it around his neck.
Yeah.
And then takes the pillow.
Well, I don't know if she tied it tight. I think she just tweaked it and, type thing. But anyway, I finished it off.
On Thursday night?
On Thursday night.
So so she tries it. She puts it up. She puts the trash bag on his head, puts the pillow on his face, and you said she ran off.
Well, no, she tried it for a little while. And it actually took about 20 minutes. Before this man died.
You don't remember what you guys were talking about out in the garage?
The arrangements that he had to make to leave to go back because they wouldn't pre-fill his anti-rejection drugs for his liver.
Oh, that was Thursday night?
Yeah, so he left. He wanted to leave the next day to go back. And he asked, I think, if he could take Dale. And I was like, well, Dale's in school, right? So I would have probably said no. But he did take that.
No, also, too, just do the fact Chuck is looking like a likely suspect if everything's sounding right. We're probably going to have to pull all of his phone records, all of his text message and everything, probably the last year or so.
Okay.
Is there anything in there that's going to come as a curveball for your communications with him?
Not that I would know.
Okay. So nothing, no communications other than what you're saying, just you guys were friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And then as far as
no, he's made several passes at me. In the garage, he did this the other night. And that's why I didn't want he goes, trust me. And then he put his hand further up my leg and said, trust me. I said, knock it off.
Was that the night? That Thursday night? When he
It
did
could
that?
have been. It was real.
What was he saying?
was-
Trust me about? Do you know?
I don't know. His hand on my
Yeah.
leg. I don't know. Why would you do that? He was trying to flirt or something?
I'm sure. He was making a pass.
Right. So I just said, knock it off. But then, yeah, it's uncomfortable.
I mean, did he do any kind of flirting or anything on the text messages or anything like that?
No, we had this big blowout because he tried to kiss me on the lips.
These garage conversations sound like nothing. Cigarettes, casual chatter, end-of-life stress. But Chuck describes that same garage moment like a turning point, the kind where a joke stops being a joke.
So,
Now,
anyway.
can he talk?
No, he can't. Well, he tries sometimes. He'll talk for a little bit, and then all of a sudden he'll go out in space land, blah, 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 blah.
Or just kind of mumbling?
Yeah.
But the only thing he physically really has control of is his right
Just
arm.
right arm, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so anyway, we're in there, and we're changing them and everything. And then we go out and we go have a smoke out in the garage. Well, she does, because I don't smoke. You know, I smoke once in a while. But anyway, I'm out there, and she goes, you know, he's going to die in a few days. I said, really? She goes, yeah. She goes, didn't you do something with your hands? And I'm going, well, why? She goes, I'm thinking about putting him to sleep. I said, okay. You know, and then she told me the story. She goes, Chuck, see, his body's going to be donated to Biological Services in Phoenix because of his high
His
140 IQ. And she said, there won't be no autopsy. And she goes, what do you think I can do? And I said, well, you can probably suffocate him.
I mean, I have brothers, but I don't talk to them and stuff. So I thought my dad and I were getting pretty close and tight, like I always missed, because he's hard to get along with.
Now, what was your guys' call history like with you and Chuck? Did you guys call pretty frequently back and forth? Or?
So then we didn't call each other because I totally blew him up. And I
This
thought,
was in September, you're talking
yeah,
about. But I mean, as far as prior to that, I mean, were there pretty frequent calls or infrequent? Or?
infrequent, just once in a while, how you doing, maybe. I didn't never initiate it.
Okay, he would usually call you and check in and stuff like that.
Huh?
So he would just usually call you and check in.
Oh, he's obnoxious. Until you put a riff in something, or, you know, like, really, I need my space.
Right.
Like last night, and then he started throwing stuff.
Yeah.
Cause
Sensitive.
all of a sudden, yeah, he was become really, he just wants to be dad now, I guess.
Then comes the quiet threat. Phone records, texts, call history. He's telling her, politely, your story has receipts. Watch what happens. She rushes to minimize the relationship because she knows intimacy plus access equals motive in an investigator's mind.
But once again, when I talk to Chuck, he's not going to say you guys had an actual relationship or anything, nothing physical at least, or anything like that.
No, he tried, when the jacuzzi, I know, I ran my hand across his crotch once.
Okay, I mean.
And curious.
Yeah.
And I regret it.
Okay.
And there's nothing there.
Okay, but I mean, you guys never had sex
To work
or anything
with,
like
no.
that. Okay.
So then I don't know. I just knew then, way back boat, and I gotta pull away because this guy has nothing to offer me, or he's old, and because he was so flirtatious at first.
Mm-hmm.
So then he just said, nope, and I talked to him about that,
If things progressed, really, who cares? It's not really a police issue. I just want to make sure, once again, I'm not going to be
right. No, but he
blindsided
is
or
in
anything.
love with me. He had said that. And then here's what happened. My stupid dad is so stupid. He has a birthday party. And he totally invites me. So we have everyone on board. We're going to pay Angel to stay overnight on the couch so I can go take the kids to Dad's birthday party. And it's going to be a formal catered affair. I'm supposed to get my hair done, so I got excited. Got my hair done, got a new gown, Ross, and a lot of spandex. So we get there, and he has a beautiful catered party. And now he's 73, and it said 39 on the cake.
This is the slip. She tries to frame Chuck as like a brother, then admits kissing, touching, and flirtation. That contradiction matters because credibility isn't about one lie. It's about pattern. And the detective keeps it neutral, letting her contradictions stand in her own words.
No.
You know, sometimes I just like to think he's really nice. I can't believe he would have done something.
I'll be entirely honest. I probably shouldn't talk to you any further about the case if you'd rather talk with an attorney. You know, and that's just kind of...
It's going forward.
But obviously it's an ongoing investigation. So, I mean, I can give you my business card.
Oh my God.
But something I'll probably come and get the swabs done, and like I said, we'll have another officer here who's a trained phlebotomist who'll do the blood draw.
Okay,
But if you go ahead,
specifically looking for in my blood.
just DNA samples at this point.
Oh.
So, if you don't mind just taking a seat for now.
Because I remember I didn't take my pills today.
Okay.
My happy pills, I call them. I'm real happy.
We'll be right back with you. And like I said, if you want to give that a once over, and you can hang on to that copy. There's another copy back at the house.
This is the standard stuff. Like, I'm not being accused of this, am I?
At this point, like I said, it's an ongoing investigation. I'm not going to snow you one way or the other, but it's ongoing. We'll be right back.
Is he here?
No, he's
in
not.
Prescott?
No.
Okay.
Here's the tonal shift. The friendly interview ends and the state takes the wheel. A warrant means consent is no longer needed, only compliance. When she says, "I'm calling a lawyer," the officer doesn't argue. He simply reminds her the warrant is already signed.
Phlebotomist is going to be in 1 second. Like I said, this is just called a buccal swab. I'm just going to rub this on the inside of your cheek.
A red Ford Expedition bearing Arizona license plates registered to a Judith Soderman. I'm not Judith Soderman.
No, I know that. That was one of the vehicles they had registered or associated with your address. I don't know where that came from entirely. I'm sorry.
That's wrong.
Just get inside this cheek, it just gets a couple skin cells, okay?
I kiss him a lot, you know.
I'm
So,
sorry.
I mean, my germs would be on his face.
I'm not, once again, I'm just saying that's
Okay.
just something we're gathering here.
Okay, just if you need to know, why would my license plates be registered to a Judith Soderman? And a white Ford Super Duty bearing Arizona license plate be registered to Cynthia Mueller. It doesn't make sense. Is that a typo?
I don't know.
Well, why would I sign something that has an error in it?
You don't need to sign that. That's your copy.
Well, why do you bear my witness here to a Ford Expedition bearing? It's a different.
It's just your copy. So you don't need to sign it or agree to it or anything like that. You're just entitled to have a copy of it so you have a record of the search warrant. I mean, technically, your buccal swabs and your blood are your property that we've been given right to seize. So you're allowed to have search
Is there
warrant
going
to
to be
show.
a quiz?
What's that?
Because I am not going to pass it.
What's that?
If there's going to be a quiz.
No. Like I said,
I'm
this
not
is just
gonna pass
we're
it.
required to give you a copy. So that's all that is.
Okay, so do you want to highlight that or do what you do?
No.
'Cause
The swab isn't about proving guilt by itself. It's about eliminating excuses later. And her sudden fixation on the wrong name, on a vehicle, that's anxiety looking for an escape hatch. When people feel trapped, they grab the nearest detail that sounds like a loophole. In this interrogation, the detective moves beyond Cynthia's emotional narrative to systematically expose contradictions and inconsistencies in her account of David's death. By revisiting specific claims she made about caregiving, finances, and Chuck's role, the interviewer highlights gaps in her story that can be verified independently. He elicits precise timelines, corroborating details, and repeated denials that contrast with known facts. From a legal perspective, this interrogation yields crucial admissions, narrows the critical time window, and frames elements of motive and opportunity. These elements help build a narrative that prosecutors can use to challenge her credibility and connect her to the crime beyond reasonable doubt. In the 2012 murder of David Mueller in Prescott, Arizona, Charles William Todd pleaded guilty to second-degree murder for his role in the death, acknowledging that he and Cynthia Mueller smothered David at her request. Under a plea agreement, the court sentenced Todd to 16 years in prison, a term reflective of his cooperation and guilty plea rather than a first-degree murder conviction. In contrast, Cynthia Mueller, who was found guilty of first-degree murder, conspiracy, fraud, and unlawful use of power of attorney, received life in prison without the possibility of parole. Reports indicate that Todd served part of his sentence and was released after serving about 4 years, a result of the plea deal and credited time.